This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, all you crypto boomers. Paul and Bud and George are back. I'm back from the beach. Man, oh man, what a week. What a great week it was to just get away and relax. And I'm excited. I got to listen in to you guys on the live stream. Man, I can't wait to talk to you guys. It's been a crazy week. But before we get started, go ahead and click the subscribe button. Click that bell so that you get notifications whenever we drop some new videos. And without any further delay, how'd you guys do this past week, huh? With cryptos didn't do much, did it?
Well, Paul, you and I were talking about what our feelings were before Bud came in, and we all have a different set of feelings about this market. I did not like the fact that my portfolio was really slashed, but I did not. I didn't feel panicked. I didn't feel like, oh, I need to sell, or oh, Bitcoin's going to zero. Because I think we've all been in this for so long that we know that this is what crypto does. We may not like it. I wanted to take some profit in June, and I don't think that's going to happen. But time will tell, and we'll see. But it's crypto. But how are you feeling?
Yeah, I felt, I mean, this is a massive, massive drop for us. As veterans of Bitcoin, it's still pretty hard to swallow. I'm pulling up as we speak. The Bitcoin dominance that I've been tracking for so long now, showed this on past videos, and uh, the challenge for me is that I had these little things on my chart. If you see this coming up here, um, it was points to take profit. Look, here, points to take profit from this Bitcoin dominance, and put that down to the daily there. And so you can see when we were in this area here, I was contemplating taking profits. And I remember joking with you guys a while ago and
Yep.
saying, hey, look, if I'd have taken profits there, that would have been quite a handy place to get out and get back in. And so I just looked at my portfolio, and I had that feeling of I don't know what to sell, because I almost became attached to these coins. I see their future. I see that it's going to be, this is the future of wealth and finance. So I took the decision not to take any profits. And of course, the challenge was just watching it go down, and not having any dry powder, as we call it, to put back into the market. But we're riding it out, and I feel it took me a day or two, and then I'm kind of over it now. So.
Yeah, I had the same similar reaction. I mean, it's tough to watch your portfolio. You look at the big number and then watch it get cut in half in a matter of days. And if we said that didn't, you know, affect us a little bit, we'd be lying. But at the same time, with the training that we get from Jay and stuff, we did have some dry powder, so we picked up some bargains, luckily, and we were buying down at the lows. I didn't get in. I didn't get into the very low. So I was negative after buying some, but it's come back up, and now I'm in the positive. I mean, you're never going to hit it exactly right. So, but I heard from a few people how it was affecting them in a negative way, as far as their psychology. But at the same time, they stuck with it. I've heard of a few people that just decided to get out. They couldn't handle it and took a loss, and just got out, and they say they won't get back in, but you know how that's going to work. The market's going to turn around. It's going to go up. There's going to be euphoria again, and then they're going to be buying in at the wrong time. So,
Well, they're going to be at the high. They're going to be buying as it just kind of breaks into the high, like so many people do.
yeah, absolutely. So I'm very glad for the training and the psychology that we received, but I think each one of us had a similar reaction. We were hoping for the June uh, get that run up in June, take some profits, and then wait for it to pull back, buy some more, and that just didn't happen this time. Hang on just a second.
But I was going to jump in here, Paul, and say that the interesting thing is that the psychology of being used to these drops, I think, is actually setting us up to be very strong in the future. What I'm trying to say is that we do expect some situations with the banks, the banks either failing or certainly taking haircuts or taking percentages off of people's off their cash reserves.
Yeah.
And I think by being in the crypto market and watching these ebbs and flows, we're almost prepared to see a little bit of loss in our bank accounts because we've gone through it with crypto. What do you think, guys?
That's actually something I hadn't thought about, Bud, but I think we can all agree that ultimately, with all the money printing and all the debt out there, that probably is going to be a reality. And if you look back, and this was something I was going to say earlier, if you look back across the markets, the market, they manipulate in the sense that they can come out and put out a bad news story. China's not going to take Bitcoin, for instance. Well, I mean, you have players out there that know that's coming. They prepare and they just wait for people to freak out and sell their Bitcoin down at 28,000, and they buy it and ride it up. And so I think you can see just through Dogecoin how a famous person speaking about a coin can move it around. Don't you think that is kind of a planned thing in many cases? Not always, I'm sure, but in many cases, don't you guys think that that's somewhat of a planned thing to maybe slow a market down so that it doesn't get away from them?
Oh, I would agree. And, speaking about China, like how many times does China come out and say, crypto bad, we're not going to allow it, and everybody freaks out, and then something happens and it just magically rises to the top again, and they're into crypto, and then okay, they're going to say it again, crypto bad, we're going to curb everything, we're going to close down all the exchanges, we're not going to allow any mining, and it's rinse and repeat, and it's just, I just don't believe it every time because it's the same thing just being rehashed in a different way, and it really never comes to fruition. So
well, do you guys
it's
remember,
a lot of
you remember back when Jamie Dimon came out, and he was the head of what bank? Help me out, I just drew a blank.
JP Morgan.
JP Morgan, and he came out and said anybody that works for me that buys crypto will be fired. And he caused the market to tank. Well, in the background, he had a group overseas buying crypto. So
they were the biggest buyer of Bitcoin during that drop.
Yeah, they moved the market and then they bought it up. And so anyway, it happens, guys, it happens. Trust me, ultimately in the long run, these markets are going up. We're still in the early phases of this bull market, and then there's another one coming on the heels of it. So just be prepared for this type of volatility. And truthfully, this is the type of volatility that makes us a lot of money. Okay, so yes, our portfolios were cut in half or close to it this past week, but think about it from the terms that it can double in the same amount of time. So
Paul, I was going to, do you remember we were talking about, do you remember this Bitcoin dominance chart? This kind of strange phenomenon back here a few weeks ago with a gap. Do you remember that? I was saying, this gap's rather strange. Because we never see gaps in crypto. Crypto is like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is no respite for crypto enthusiasts. But we see this gap, and what we've learned from our training is that typically in the traditional markets, the price will go back and fill that gap.
Yep.
And it looks like that's what we've done.
It always fills the gap. That's a great point, Bud. I'm glad you brought that up because I had forgotten about that, but that is a fantastic point, that it looks like it gapped down, got away, and then came up. There was almost a realization, and it spiked back up and filled that gap. That's a great point, Bud. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Bud, I know that you have taken some initiative to learn what's called the DeFi space in cryptos, and it certainly is a very complex space in cryptos, but it's the future of finance, future of banking finance, probably, or the future of finance, probably, not probably, it is. So do you have something that you could maybe just tease us a little bit with what you've learned so far on the DeFi space?
Absolutely, yes. In fact, it's if you think about decentralized finance as the concept of, we live in a world that's very centralized. We have centralized world banks, we have centralized institutions, we have that banks are very centralized, and so with the threat of a financial reset in the current financial system, these centralized these bodies, these financial institutions, are actually dangerous because it could collapse. And so one of the solutions to continue like having, a financial system, which is unbelievably important for the world economy, right, is to have a decentralized finance. The concept of Bitcoin is decentralized, and so finance can be decentralized. It's a bit like an octopus. An octopus can have lots of tentacles, and then you cut one of those tentacles off, and it continues to operate. In fact, and can grow that tentacle back. If you look at My Octopus Teacher on Netflix, wonderful film as well, and that's a little bit like decentralized finance. You have this very robust system. It's a network that is decentralized, and so if a little part of it may fail, then you've got the whole system continues unaffected by each of the parts of it. So there's a number of players in this market. So I wanted to sort of delve into, learn about decentralized finance. I absolutely think as a crypto boomer, it's one of those areas that you should get an education on before doing anything at all. It's absolutely imperative because you can lose your money in this system. It's so complicated. But you can understand it. Here's a platform that I was playing around with, to try and to trade. One of the challenges we have right now, and George will attest to this, is the fees in gas on Ethereum. This is basically the fuel behind what drives Ethereum. And if we use a decentralized solution like Uniswap, then it can actually be very high in terms of the gas fees. That's right, George.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's one reason why, I think Ethereum is a great coin, but to put a ERC20, which is a token that rides on the Ethereum blockchain and is stored in the Ethereum wallet, man, it can be really expensive. Back in 2017, I think I was paying at the high like $1.25, $2 at the most, and I'd be like, oh, those fees are high. You can pay $20 now, $20, $30 in Ethereum fees for that. So yeah, gas fees for Ethereum are just out of sight.
Yeah, so George, what I was doing is like playing around with some of these platforms. There's something here called Sushi as well.
Yep.
And really the concept is that you go to a different chain. So if you can think like this is Binance chain. And what you basically do is, okay, it sounds basically right, but look, if we're losing the audience, just bear with us, right? This is complicated stuff. I'm just going to give you a little teaser of what happens. Binance have this thing called a bridge, and you can take your native asset, be it Ethereum, be it here Tether, but we don't like Tether. Ethereum or Bitcoin, and we can bridge that over to the Binance Smart Chain. Now, Binance is a little bit complicated. It does have multiple chains. You have BNB, which is the Binance native chain, but this is called Binance Smart Chain, and they've called it, if you can see here, BIP20 instead of an ERC20 for Ethereum. It's a BIP20, and what you can do is you can port that Ethereum over to the Binance Smart Chain. Then you can trade it on 1inch. Again, this is not financial advice. Just want to be clear about this. Do your own research. But you can port it over to 1inch, and then you can start swapping around, and the fees are much, much lower. Like I was getting on average about $1 to $2 buying this stuff and swapping it around. It was so much cheaper. And in fact, if you use this chain, which is the Matic chain, then that was even cheaper. That was a few cents to swap things compared to Ethereum. There is challenges. You know, you are using almost like a derivative of the digital asset, but there's benefits as well, because if you do want to hold or trade, the fees can actually be quite rewarding. So that's the DeFi space in a nutshell. Probably more to come in the future. It is a complicated field, but for now, that's what's really took my interest this week,
Well,
last week.
if anybody out there's eyes glazed over and you had trouble following that, don't feel bad, because I still don't. I mean, I've kind of got a basic rudimentary knowledge of the DeFi space, but it is something that is challenging for me to wrap my head around. So, and I'm sure for many people, and I think in the future it's going to get easier and easier, don't you, George?
Oh, absolutely. They're doing some things that is really will kind of simplify it for people. And you know, in the beginning, it's still a little Wild West on the DeFi, because they are trying to figure out what's going to be best, the user interface, the coins, the way it's handled. And you know, it is a little overwhelming if you're not used to some of the concepts, like just getting your mind wrapped around how Ledger Live works is hard enough, as compared to some of this DeFi. And you know, one thing I want to point out is that as these DeFi platforms grow, expand, and are simplified, and here's the plug, guys. Our new website, the bitcoinacademy.io, which just went live in May, so this month, we will be posting things there about the different DeFi platforms, how to go through and make purchases, and do things, because Bud is absolutely right. This is the platform of the future. I think Binance, Coinbase, other big exchanges, Gemini, they've got to watch out what is happening to DeFi, because if you can go someplace and get just about any coin you want and have full control all the time, then these exchanges, we're not going to need them.
No.
And we're not going to have to KYC and AML and put the brakes on everything. And, you know, I know in this last period of time that people that were caught on Coinbase, they couldn't get their coins when the price of crypto were dropping. They couldn't get on the platform to sell. And so these platforms, whether they're doing it on purpose or whether they're doing it because they're overwhelmed, I don't know, but they shouldn't be stopping people from having their coins and trading their coins. And if we have enough decentralized platform or DEXs, then we can choose whichever one is actually giving us the best service. And you know, I think this is going to be really, really important going forward to learn how these systems work.
Yeah, I think one thing for people to remember is I like in this crypto space too. Back in the day when we were using dial-up for internet access, and what that has become, and I think through the more and more people that get into this space, and we're just at the beginning of it, more and more people, just regular folks like us, there's going to be a need for, and I think they've identified this already, there's going to be a need for very simple, um, simple programs that will allow us to basically swap out coins on our own. And I think that's what you were talking about there, George. And
Yep.
and I think that as necessity is the mother of all invention. And so I think it is going to become necessary, especially if anybody's like me, that we make this as simple as possible.
Yeah, Paul, let me jump in there as well.
Oh,
We're
there's the
getting a little bit
dial-up.
of feedback, aren't we? Huh?
Sorry, I was just calling back to the 90s.
I was going to say, it sounds just like the dial-up.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
That's funny. I heard that and I'm like, what the heck? Who's listening in on my conversations?
Well, we hope a lot of people are listening in.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, that
Anyway,
was
go
lovely.
ahead.
Thanks, George, for that. The dial-up years.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, back to yours. I just had to throw that in there.
But actually, for the for baby boomers and actually the Gen X generation as well, like my generation, this is why we're in cryptos, because we've gone through the massive boom in the internet, with the dial-up and then moving to broadband and then Google coming along and just seeing the whole growth and the whole wealth that was and the shift in the world through that, and now seeing this come to fruition with finance and the finance doing the same thing but on a bigger scale, than just I guess the internet. This just changes everything.
Yeah.
Finance being digitalized and with cryptography.
Yeah, and I was going to say one of the reasons why I wanted to play that sound, because I feel right now that we are in that dial-up stage on DeFi, and that the change that's going to happen on the financial side of things is going to be tremendous. And I was my first modem was 1200 baud, and then I was the first one in the neighborhood to get DSL, and now we don't even think about it, that it's just a part of our life, that the internet is everywhere. It's on our phone, it's on our TV. I don't have cable. I stream everything. And so, this is where we're headed. And the people that, well, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't had a phone in my house since 2001.
Yeah.
And I know some people still have phones. I'm not sure why. They probably have a cell phone too, because everybody almost needs to have a cell phone to get around nowadays. So you're going to need to know about DeFi to get around in the future, to get around in whatever banking will look like in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we've identified here that just the infancy stages of this and how exciting it is, and what that does for us here as investors to create wealth is finding projects within this space, which Jay has put out some trade calls on, or not trade calls, but trades that he's made on some DeFi coins that, as the space grows, you're talking X factors in the hundreds.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's very important as we pursue wealth creation to kind of stay ahead of the curve. And I feel like that's one thing that we do a good job, because we have George with BitcoinAcademy.net, and also George kind of keeps us ahead of the technology side of it, and Jay takes the ball and helps us with the trading side of it and the psychology and cheerleader and coach, and kind of sometimes gets in your knickers for not following the teaching that we've gone through. But anyway, guys, we wanted to bring this to you guys to give you some excitement for the future. I know this past week has been a little bit tough for people. I know that, as we said earlier, even the three of us who have been in this space for a while, and have seen these ups and downs, it still sucks. I get it. You know, it's difficult when you see those big pullbacks and all you're watching is your total portfolio amount. But the best thing you can do is use this time to educate yourself. If you have dry powder, you know, it was a good time to get into it and into some of the coins that had taken a drop. And beyond that, just enjoy the fact that you're here and that you are in the process of creating wealth. Don't ever forget that that's what the ultimate goal is to create wealth through crypto. You guys have anything you want to say before we wrap this up?
I think I said enough for today, but I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, I was just going to say that for the people that have found this channel and listen to us, I mean, it's a very wise choice because we are very good at spotting trends and being ahead of the curve. And I just wanted to cast your mind back to if I could talk to my past self when I was sitting through Bitcoin bumping down to these 3,000 levels and 6,000 levels, and if I could say to my past self, hey, one day you're going to be really depressed because it goes from 65,000 down to 38,000, I'd be like, hey, I'll take that. I'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, it's difficult when you're in the storm, but if you can prepare for the storm, knowing that there are going to be storms that come occasionally, it makes it a lot easier. A lot easier.
Hey guys, do you think this will be a bump on the log in the future? This one
Well,
here.
go back. Yeah, go back and look at 2017. How's that look?
Yeah, look, bump on the log.
Isn't that
And then
incredible?
for all the people coming here, look, this will be a bump on the log.
It
Yep.
will.
Yep. Yes, it will. All right, guys. Well, with that, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Next week, well, we might have an interview next week or the week after. We won't get into it right now, but I think it's something that the boomers will very much appreciate. Somebody from a different background, kind of sharing what they do for preservation, wealth preservation. So anyway, be looking for that. And otherwise, with that, guys, just keep on creating wealth and don't lose heart, even when times look like they're difficult. Just take it as an opportunity to learn more about cryptos. And if you have dry powder, just hopefully you're in the group with Jay, and he's done some phenomenal videos on getting us through this period of time, and actually even given us some targets to buy some beaten down cryptos to take advantage of this opportunity. So anyway, it's not just investing, guys. It's about creating wealth. Have a great one. Talk to you later.